with our sales guys. They just throw whatever they can because revenue means money in their pocket. For us, it has to be profitable revenue. It took us 2 or 3 years to realize what we were actually good at and what we could make money on. If you're going to scale a business, it can't be Chad Louk Pest Control. It's got to be Prodigy Pest Solutions.
All right. Well, we are back again talking pest control solutions. Today, we've got a great guest named Chad Louk, who is the owner of Prodigy Pest Solutions based in South Florida. And we were talking right before we started recording, and it's already off to a hot start. So, Chad, thanks so much for being on and talking shop with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, beautiful. So just like we're saying, man, we already kind of digging into it a little bit, but can you tell us your story? Tell us kind of how you got going with Prodigy Pest and anything else that you're working on in the space.
As most pest control owners go, it's usually you got started as a technician or door-to-door sales or as a family thing. I fall into that ladder as well. I was brought into this industry doing door-to-door sales back in 2015, so a little over a decade now. Worked for Point Pest Control out of Chicago. They were my scoutmasters growing up, so got into the industry, went through that for a couple of years, and then just took the leap. Went to open in Florida. I'd actually never been to Florida. I didn't know anyone in Florida. I just thought, hey, that's going to be a good market. It's warm year-round. Can knock doors year-round. And so I did that in 2018. It's been 7 years. A lot of mistakes. I think a lot of guys think, hey, I'm a good salesman. I can just go and sell and open a company. And obviously there's other job titles in a company. And so I've learned a lot and had a lot of mistakes on the way. But today we have 3 branches in Florida and currently employ over 80 people.
That's awesome. 3 branches and 1 coming, right? Up in my neck of the woods.
Yes. So we're opening up in Jacksonville next year. So we'll see you up there.
That's great. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. So Florida's not home for you. Where's home for you then?
Chicago. Yeah. So where I got started with Point was there 2 years. They had another branch in DC. So I was over in that market as well. And I kind of skipped over a step, but my brother also moved down here. We were in Naples together. I owned a branch with him for a little bit. And then they opened up in Orlando. So between my 4 offices across the state and his 2, we cover the whole state of Florida. And we currently I own a marketing company as well, and I currently market for his company as well. So all of Florida, Prodigy's there.
That's awesome. That's great. Wow. And so one of the things I do want to dive right into is you said like, hey man, I just Chicago to Florida, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Can we dig into some of the ones? What were kind of some of the heavier hitters?
Sure.
That maybe, what the heck did I just do moving from Chicago to Florida to try to do a pest business? What were some of the mistakes that you encountered throughout your journey?
Fair. I think as a salesman, and we deal with that today with our sales guys, they just throw whatever they can because revenue means money in their pocket, right? Revenue does not mean profit in my pocket. So the revenue for them is commission. For us, it has to be profitable revenue. And so it took us 2 or 3 years to realize what we were actually good at and what we could make money on. So a lot of those oddball jobs like bed bugs or trapping rodents, when it comes to like armadillos down here, that's a big one. Bird exclusion, even commercial, there's a lot of commercial stuff that we just won't touch now. And so you got to find what you're good at and what you can scale. For us was the residential pest control in the HOA communities. We have a really good niche on that. And then also just getting the infrastructure down. It doesn't matter how much you sell if you can't retain and keep it. So the quality is everything. I knew really early on I had to find good technicians, good service, buy the best chemical, all that. But then one thing that we really struggled on was the office side. It was me and my wife just answering the calls for the longest time. Got my sister involved, help. But we really had no chain of command when it came to cancellations or training inside the office, what could be replicated, what could be passed on to the next employees. And so that was my biggest issue, is not having the infrastructure in place, not having CSRs in place answering phones. And so for basically the first 5 years, 24/7, my phone was off the hook. I was talking to clients. They had my personal phone number. They could reach me anytime. And if you're going to scale a business, it can't be Chad Louk Pest Control. It's got to be Prodigy Pest Solutions. You can't be attached to the company that way. So that would be my biggest issue, is I didn't build out and scale what I thought was going to be down the road. And it cost us a lot to get that caught up.
Tell us a little bit about your tech stack with building the infrastructure to handle inbound calls and manage that efficiently. I'm sure that's kind of changed over the years.
Recently, this year, we just leased a space building out our new headquarters. So we're going to have about 20 office staff inside of this new building. So all of our CSRs, our admins, technical director, CFOs, everyone's going to be in one space now rather than all these little satellite operations that we've had across the state. And so I think the infrastructure as a whole will be a lot better having us there. But yeah, we're only 7 years in and we're growing pretty rampant. So it's just been kind of catching up until right now.
Can you give us an idea of that growth curve? Like what did it look like customer and revenue wise throughout the years? And has it, I'd love to hear that story.
So the first year I had just sold out of my partnership with my brother and his company, and I was burnt out. We had just knocked 8 months straight. I was kind of regretting the move too. I thought maybe I shouldn't have stayed. I lost the comfort of that. I was only 21 and now everything was really on me. And so I coasted the first year, really. It wasn't until I got my first door-to-door rep, recruited a guy from the gym to come tech for me, and I had people relying on me again. And so that kind of kicked my butt into gear. But the first year, we had less than 200 accounts. Second year, not anything crazy again. I overpromised with door-to-door guys, trying to get people in the door, and barely made payroll. Barely got that through. And then my third year is when we really broke out of the water. Got lucky with a recruit who brought on some guys. So yeah, your question, Ben, about how I grew, it was ultimately door-to-door getting started. That's my background. So third year was the year we hit $1 million in revenue, which is kind of crazy because when I was with my brother's company, we did that within the first year. And so I really thought I could do that, but it took me a long time to hit that. And then today, this coming year, we'll finish somewhere between 9.5 and 10.5 million.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Amazing. That's great.
So the curve is huge. Yeah. Took a while to get started. Like I said, there's a lot of mistakes on the way. Slow start. I don't regret anything I did. I don't think I could have done anything different with the knowledge I had, though, other than just working harder on my own. But I think not knowing much and getting started on my own, those mistakes could have been bigger and harder. And so the fact that I was growing slower, the mistakes were probably easier on me. And so I think the scale that we did move was probably for the best.
On the door-to-door side, what does your churn look like? Is that an issue? Have you guys managed that pretty well?
Are we talking about with the customers or the reps?
I guess both would be interesting, but I was talking customers first, but I'd love to hear on the rep side too.
Okay. Yeah. So right now, my main job is actually recruiting and managing the sales teams. So even though I'm an owner of a pest control company, last year I hired a CEO to step in and replace me. So all my day-to-day in the pest control, working with the technicians, it's been fun. It's been great. I love it. But I'm getting back to my roots, what I'm good at, and that's working with the door-to-door teams. So this is something that I'd like to talk about. Yeah, when I'm on a recruiting call, that's one of the biggest things is we get to talk about cancellation rate, because that's really what matters. If every rep's getting paid, we'll say it's 50%, but at option A, the cancellation rate's 30%, and at option B, it's 10%. You're really not getting paid 50, you're getting paid 30 or 40, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So with us last year, our number one rep had a cancellation rate of 2.3%, and our average across the board right now is 8.8%. And industry average is around 25%.
Oh yeah.
So I want to ask that guy that's got the 2.3. How is he doing so well? What's different about him? I mean, and even 8.8 is really good. Like you said, it's well below what you said was the kind of industry average. But
2.3 would be an anomaly, if I'm being honest. That would be my brother. He knocked for us. I co-own my marketing company with him. He's 34. He's been door to door for a decade. So kind of hard to beat that guy.
Yeah.
He's been knocking for a decade. His brother owns the company. But we had guys in the 4s and the 5s. And those guys, we leave the software open year round for these guys. And so they communicate with their clients. They know when someone's canceling. They have their information with that. And then before their backends come, we give them 2 weeks. We'll send a list of all the clients that are either past due on payments or missed a service, and they can reach out and rectify that before their backend hits. So we're really open book with our sales reps to fix things. And, if they win, we win. I think that a lot of other companies, they're like, oh, well, we don't pay this guy's backend. At least we profited on those 4 services. I'm not trying to build my company on cancellation fees. I'm trying to build my company on reoccurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we want to keep those clients long term. I'd rather maybe not make money that first year on that account that probably wasn't that good, but we'd rather keep it on the books and hope that our service brings them around the following year. And then on the retention of the sales reps, I think the easiest thing for us is that I'm in Florida. A lot of these guys are coming from the Midwest. I mean, you live in Florida. Like, would you rather be in Idaho or come spend your summer in Boca Raton, Florida, or Miami,
Florida,
Tampa? Yeah. So it's a fun market. It's cool. The other nice thing is we can knock you around. A lot of these guys, door-to-door's changed a lot since when I started, where it was kind of just a summer thing. Now people are making this kind of a career. The money in it's gotten pretty crazy, where it almost makes completely no sense to go to college when you can instantly be making 6 figures.
Oh, that's cool. Well, and I think something else that you might be able to attribute it to, and this is one of the questions I wanted to dive into, was, you changing your role from CEO to being in charge of the marketing and the sales team. Can you walk us through that decision and even going through that hiring process? To how did you kind of land on, okay, man, here are the keys. I'm going to go make sure things are running.
So everything was fine until about 5 million. When we hit 5 million, I realized this is all above me. I don't have an MBA. I've never looked at profit and loss statements before. Like I said, I told you earlier before you hopped on, I have 1 semester under my belt from Brigham Young University, and probably half those credits are religion credits. They don't really transfer over to owning a business. So I think I did good with where we got to at 5 million. I brought on my parents to work for me. My dad has a degree from BYU. He was a district manager of a pharmaceutical company in Chicago. He managed a sales organization. So having them come on, my mom was a admin for a hospital as well. So she came in, helped us get set up with healthcare, insurance, time off, all the joys of owning a business that I knew nothing about. But really, it was like, okay, how do we get to the next level? I need someone that has industry-specific knowledge. And actually, it was a direct competitor of mine. He worked for a local company that's a national brand in Sarasota, where I live. And he actually hated me because I did door-to-door and I was stealing all their customers. All their meetings every week was about Prodigy and how we could hurt this guy. And the only reason I had his number is because he called me once and was like, screw you, dude. Like, you're making my job hard. And when I got here, I was the only company knocking doors pest control. And so he just had never experienced it. And when other companies came in and he really saw how bad companies can operate, how unethically they can do things, I became the enemy of my friend sort of situation and gave him a lot of advice how to combat those companies and how to help them. And over the years, we built a friendship. And finally, it was just like, hey, like, you've been at this company that's a national brand. You're at a dead end job. Like, do you want to come over and be my CEO? And so he took the jump last year. Why I took the jump to the sales side is because I think, like I said, it is my background on the door-to-door side, but I just felt like I was losing the joy of running the business. I was in the business too much. I wasn't building the business. I was working with all the not fun stuff, like vehicle accidents, workers' comp claims, technicians quitting, writing people up. Like, no one wants to do that stuff. And so I'd rather hire someone to do that for me. The fun stuff for me is working with the sales guys, getting out on the doors, training them, recruiting them. I'm only 28, but to those guys, I'm ancient. They're all 18 to 21. And it keeps me young, honestly. I love going out with them, hanging with them. And it's super cool to bring on a team and watch them add on 7 figures in a summer. You don't get that kind of instant growth anywhere else in this industry other than if you're loaded and you're buying other companies. So that's why I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's probably the quickest growth you can have. It's the most condensed growth you can have. And you're changing people's lives. Those kids come in, a lot of them, right out of high school. Probably best job they ever had is working at Steak and Shake. And now all of a sudden they're making $100,000 in the summer. So
yeah, life changing.
Yeah, life changing.
So if there's a company who's never done door to door, they've been around for a while, they want to test the waters, what are some different ways for them to explore door to door? And I think you probably have a great perspective on this because of your marketing company as well. So I'd love to hear, building a door to door team from scratch or outsourcing to a marketing company. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Right. So I'm going to try and be an unbiased person because I do have a marketing company. I'm not going to say just hire me. In fact, out of the 50 companies that hit me up, I probably turn away 45 of them right out the gates. So for instance, if I am Chad, when I was 21 and started my company and I want to grow it really quick, I'm not a good candidate to hire a marketing company. I had $7,000 to my name. That's not someone that you can hire. You need to build it yourself. And so if you're in my shoes, let's say you're a technician, you started your company and you left your other company you're trying to build and you want to try door to door, your best bet is to go to the local gym or the local high school or college, put out a booth and self-recruit and get on the doors with them, train them, maybe buy a manual from someone that does door-to-door training. And you need to bootstrap it. You need to do it yourself. The two companies that have worked with us, Mosquito Shield and Rose, are companies that have been around a long time. Rose has been around 164 years, the oldest company in the nation for pest control.
Wow.
They've never done door-to-door. They had the capital to try it. And on the other end, they had a really good reputation. The owner was a U.S. congressman, family-owned and operated. Their reputation's everything. And so they didn't want to just recruit anyone. They didn't want to try and do it themselves and have it blow up. So that's a great candidate for someone that should hire a marketing company with expertise to maintain that brand. And for them, it was, they were trying the merger and acquisition route. And, you could be buying a company, let's say, that's doing $2 million a year, and you may pay a 2x multiple on that. And they may do commercial, the birds, all that stuff, right? And they may be in zip codes you don't even work in. Versus doing door to door, you're paying half that. And you send us exactly where you want. You tell us, hey, this is how much we want to charge. This is where we want you to be. These are the kind of services we want. It's a lot more catered. And that's why I think they chose to go to the door-to-door route. And that's why we're continuing to work with them next year.
Yeah, and it sounds like, with your guys' retention rates, that's awesome. You've done a really good job with that. On that note, what do you guys do, let's say, in the first 90 days to drive that kind of retention? Because what we commonly see is there's a curve, right? The first 90 days is really where you see a lot of drop off if the customer isn't sold what they thought they got, right? There's a one-time
Absolutely.
or whatever.
Yeah. So most of your cancels are going to come within the first week or within the second service. And so for us, I think a lot of door-to-door companies, they hire either a failed salesman to be the technician for the summer. A lot of these companies, they recruit a bunch of guys and some fall off and they say, hey, just hop in a truck, do the route. No training's given to them. They probably don't even know how to mix the chemical. And they're just doing it because they don't want to get sent home and owe money to the company for the housing they're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. So all my technicians go through our rigorous training. In fact, we don't really have start technicians. All my technicians are going to do starts. And so you may get someone who's been with me a decade or been in the industry a decade, right? So that's a big thing on that. And then on the follow-up service, we send a quality tech to go out and meet the customer. We'll call them 3 days in advance, try to do a meetup. We'll do a free attic and termite inspection at that point too. It may include, an upsell. That's obviously the driving goal there. But ultimately, it's getting a face to the name, letting them meet our technician. Maybe the first initial, they weren't home because we try to push a same-day service. So the second one, we're going to meet you. We're going to meet you. We're going to do an in-person meet and greet, talk about what we're doing, go over the agreement again, make sure everyone's on board with what's going on, talk about any issues. And I think that's really how we get a lot of reviews as well as that second service. So the second service is our most in-depth service. A lot of door-to-door companies, the first one is the most in-depth. But I feel like the first one, there's just too many variables. The salesman may say, hey, I sold this person on spiders because I saw these spiders up here. but they may have fire ants in the backyard that you never even went around back to see that, right? And so the technician on those notes on the first one was like, oh yeah, spiders, that's what I'm focusing on, right? But then the kid gets bit up after that first service, and now you're getting blamed. So the second one's usually we're going to find the best retention.
So just so I'm mapping this out correctly, your first service, do you guys have a pre-service text and a post-service text on that as well?
It's not a pre-service. It's a post-service. They're going to get the link from Applause with the link for review. They're going to get the link for the rating on NPS if they want to leave that. They'll get the invoice from what we did, and that's it. It's the second service that they get the link or the call. We try to do a call. If they don't answer, then we send them an email. And then on the, like I said, before the end of the service, we also do that follow-up as well. The third, they're going to get some marketing flyer as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I guess like four points of communication throughout the year.
That's smart. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense why your retention rates are so good. You guys have thought through that really well. I think even with the phone call, I don't think a lot of pest control companies do that on that second visit. So that's a smart idea.
It's a lot of calls, you know. Yeah. So just this year, a local pest control guy, I believe he's out of Georgia, Seth Watson. He owns a outsourcing division as well. So we just started outsourcing CSRs to make these calls. People from Brazil, the Philippines. They speak perfect English. You couldn't even tell. And they're not working with billing or scheduling or anything like that. It's just, hey, we want to schedule this first one with the technician. So no working with the chemicals or anything like that. It's just scheduling a route. That's it.
Just one final question. At your size, you said 9 to 10 million range. What are some of the pain points that you guys are experiencing now and that you're trying to solve?
The things that keep us up at night is the liability of it all. I've got 50 trucks out on the road, right? And any day someone could get in an accident and it could be life ending, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you're working with dangerous chemicals when not used properly. That could be very dark. So I'd say the insurance of it all keeps me up. That's very stressful. A lot of moving parts with insurance. We have probably 8 different policies between the vehicles, the workers' comp, the liability, the umbrella. I mean, there's so many moving parts to it all. And you just want to make sure you have the right coverage for what you're dealing with. There's a statistic out there about businesses at my size. They call it like the Death Valley, right? Getting from this stage to the next.
Chad, if you have anything else that you wanted to touch on that we didn't get to, anything come to mind before we close out?
Yeah, why don't you talk about approval a little bit?
Okay.
I've been doing all the talking, so why don't you guys go ahead?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is with door-to-door teams. So Approve, one of our biggest products is a contract verification. So it's an AI welcome call. I don't know if do you guys have any manual welcome calls or anything that you guys do on that end?
Personally, Prodigy doesn't, but Rose and my brother's company that we market for do. I think salesmen hate it, but I see the value in it on retention. Nothing's worse than when a technician shows up and like, this person doesn't even know the cost or that it's a year agreement, you know, like, yeah. So yeah, well, I do see the value in welcome calls or new customer checklists that things get signed off on. So yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So it, exactly what you're talking about. It helps the sales reps sell to the actual deal, right? So they're not really trying to push for a deal and try and whisper something that the customer really should know and hide it under the rug, right? So at the end of the sales call, we sync in with field routes, and it's like almost like a FaceTime experience where the customer is recorded. You can do audio and video or just audio, and it's an AI voice, sounds very human, just like a regular phone call that goes through and says, hey, this is what you're agreeing to. We show visuals on the screen. They can see what they're paying when they're getting serviced, and then they verbally say yes, saves back to the contract, and then the sales reps can see on a dashboard how many of their sales did they actually get verified. So there's an admin side to that as well, where you can see which reps are getting it done, which ones aren't. And we've seen a great impact on retention. I mean, you already have an amazing retention, but companies that are high, in the 25 30% churn rate, we can drop that down pretty significantly with welcome calls, especially in that first 90 days, making sure people understand.
You guys only do that door to door? Do you guys do that with office sales too?
We do that with both. Yeah. Door to door is the highest demand for it, but we do,
obviously, yeah.
We'll do both. Yeah.
I know of a big company that does door to door that utilizes this. I'm not sure if it's your company or maybe their own, but I've heard some feedback from the reps how, it's kind of awkward, right, doing it. But like you said, if you have nothing to hide, then it's no big deal. It's going to be a qualified account and should help on the retention, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I always think of it like it's how you position it, right? If you're confident and you're comfortable in what you're having them go through, it's not awkward. If they're feeling they didn't explain something clearly or they don't know how to present it, it can be an awkward.
I bet the really cool thing about it is that we deal with this so much, and this is kind of the gross thing about this industry, is the cancellation fee, right? Where you cancel an account, they're done, you got to pay the cancellation fee, and then you charge them, and then you dispute it, and then you send them to collections, and then they send, well, prove to me that I signed that contract, the verification of debt. And I'm a pest control company. I don't have your social security card. I don't have your license scan. And the collection agency says, yeah, you got their signature, but we're not going to take that on. And so now you're eating the cancellation fee and the credit card processing fee, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yep. So I would imagine that this recording that you have would be enough for these things to stick.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a huge thing for chargebacks because you can it automatically creates a PDF, has a screenshot of the customer on each question. So you have the video with a PDF you can submit. So it's very clear that they agreed to the terms of the contract and it's not just some scribbled signature, All
right, we're going to talk after this about that. I like it.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, seriously, Chad, dude, so good to connect with you. Are you going to Pest World?
I will be there. Yeah, it's 2 hours north. Yeah.
Hey, beautiful. We'll be there too. So you'll have to swing by the booth and roll some ski. We got a skee ball machine we're going to be putting up.
All right. Let's do it.